So I am Sidney, 28 years old, living in Switzerland, but originally from the Philippines. In my past, I've always suffered from different physical illness, such as strong headache, hypertension, and my ankle were getting swollen, and I didn't know the reason why. So usually when your body doesn't feel right, you try every kind of solution. So I did self-studies, I read books, I watch videos and practice gratitude in the most awkward way possible, because this is what the social media and the internet tells you, but they don't actually tell you how the process is, and this is the reason why I'm here at Kokoro. Unfortunately, at the age of 25, I was diagnosed with an aneurysm in my aorta. So, you know, at 25 years old, you plan your future, you have dreams and hope, but for me it happened differently. You know, I had to deal with one of my darkest moments in my life. I was inside this big dark hole in a limbo, and I couldn't even find a way out. So after my operation, I changed and I became a totally different person. A person that I didn't love, that I didn't respect, that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror, because my operation made me gain a lot of weight, and you know, I fell into depression, and I cannot give you an explanation to it, because even the person who suffers from it cannot explain that, because it just comes and you don't know where it comes from. And my depression, most of the time I was being hysterical, I was being, you know, an unlikable person, a person I didn't want to be friends with. And to escape from my reality, I usually sleep all day, because that was the cure for me, and sleeping I felt less pain. But then when the night comes, you know, I just couldn't sleep because I was suffering from insomnia. And when you don't sleep, you think a lot. So I was being an overthinker, and the way my mind was thinking was always being against me, you know, blaming for what happened to me, blaming for my decisions, because in those moments I was a really lost person, and I was shouting for help, but not everyone could hear me back then. And you know, the people I thought that were going to put me back together, they were the one who left me on a bed hospital. So I was not only in physical pain, but I was also emotionally broken. And from my overthinking, I started to have panic attacks. I was having panic just to find a parking lot, panic on not being able to open a bottle of water. And you know, doctors were trying to cure all those mental illness with medicine. So I was taking 5 medications at once. One for my antidepressant, for my hypertension, because I had to control the blood pressure of my heart, and sleeping pills, pain reliever, because I was totally in pain. They cut my body in half, and my body was still recovering from their wounds. And they also gave me those pills, telling me that they were pills to make me happy back again, and you know, as a placebo effect. But for me, it didn't work well. So a lot of questions come up those times, and I try to go to people who are actually considered professional in this case. And I went to doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and one thing I can remember is one day I was really devastated that day, and the woman told me, you know, maybe life, it's not for everyone. So that time I realized that maybe I had to do something for myself. And since then I never stopped, you know, trying a solution. Maybe I've also always tried to find retreats in everywhere, just because I knew inside of me there was a person, there was a soul who was shouting for help. But because of my behavior and the way I was before, I didn't want to ask help, so I had to wear a mask and, you know, pretend I was fine. And when deep inside I was really broken. And you know, when you go inside those situations in your life where you're not ready, where things are unknown, especially the unknown things really scares you a lot. And for me it was that I didn't want to ask help because my behavior was different. I thought I was one of the strongest person I ever met in my life, but in fact I was very weak. And I couldn't heal myself, but I kept pretending I was fine. And fortunately, one day someone answered my prayer, and through Elena Darna I found the Kokoro program. And I didn't have second thoughts on writing to them and telling them my story. And since the first day we've been in contact, and I had support from them, from my coach, who was always available to talk and to listen to me, especially during the pandemic.
So Sidney contacted our staff after Elena Darna's treatment here, and reached out to us. My staff forwarded me the mails of Sidney, and I read them, and they were very dramatic, and I saw a very lost and hopeless woman behind these emails. So I decided to step into contact to her and try to find out about her status.
During the pandemic, everyone was affected by it, but for me it was a normal thing because I was isolating already myself from the outside world. Because for me, going outside was being judged by everyone, even though they didn't know me. Because deep inside, I knew I was judging myself for the things that happened to me. And here start my Kokoro journey. The coming here in Bali was a long and complicated process. And
saya mengenal Miss Sidney sampai saya terkejut pertama kali saya jemput di airport. Udah saya bertanya sama master saya, apa orang ini bisa akan melaksanakan Kokoro program? Karena pertama kali saya jemput, keyakinan saya nggak ada.
But with faith and will, I finally made it. So my first day in Kokoro, the first days of training were very confusing, and as a person who was put in a different situation, in a different environment, out of her comfort zone, was very confusing. And my days were full of whys and what. Why my coach is doing this? Why am I feeling like this? Why I'm so confused? And then day by day you get used to it. And one thing that I really like about this program is the talk with the teacher and the student. We usually call that the shishio. And my coach was able to answer all my questions because most of the answers, you couldn't find them inside books. So starting from my day one to now, every day you wake up and you become a totally different person. I felt different, even my perception towards life, towards my day. I always cherish even the little sip of water. I can really feel gratitude with that, when before I've lost all of these valuable things that are really untouchable. And every day I always beat my fears. As a young lady who was afraid to ride a bike, at the age of 28, I started to ride a bike. And I had the fear of heights, so my coach had the wonderful idea to put me inside those catapult and shoot me out of in the sky. And in the first moment, you are afraid, because I was someone who was suffering from hypertension, and my mind was still on the healing process. But then when I was up in the sky and I knew I made it, you felt really different. And there you understand that you never really have to lose hope. And one thing I also noticed was not only in my physical appearance that I've lost a lot of weight. And here they really put me in control with a specific diet for my body, for what I've been through, and for what I want to achieve. And
That's the monkey mind. Here's the step after the Kokoro. Here's the step where we want to go, where we want to get. So that in order to get here, we have to do the rituals, the practice to come here, because the main goal of meditation is information poverty.
So when I came here, you know, you stabilized our relationship with the coach and the student. So you have to find what was the main cause of all your problems, and we found out that one of my biggest weaknesses was the fear of rejections, and also, you know, an overload of care and love from my childhood. So starting from that, we have found the right trainings for myself, and you know, I'm receiving a lot of messages on why you're doing that, it's that worth it, is it difficult, and how is the process, and are you afraid, were you afraid of this, and you know, all those questions, you cannot give a proper answer to it because every person is different. And when I came here, there were a lot of, I've also asked myself, did I make the right decision, or am I going to make it tomorrow? Because it's something different. So every day you become a totally different person, your perception towards life, it's different. Even the body, what I felt, I was under medication, I was like a drugstore, and they had like to detoxificate my body. I have been isolated for days without my phone, without my social media, without contacts with the outside world. And you know, I had to deal with myself and a person that I didn't like before, and I had to start to love myself back again. And that was one of the first difficult tasks I ever had. But you know, then when you see the sacrifice that your body do, that your will does, your courage comes out, you really start to love back yourself. And this is actually one of the best gifts I ever gave to myself. It's the commitment and, you know, the promises. And you know, the way I think right now, it's totally different. And not only my subconscious mind, my mind, you know, we always say that what you think you become, and this is what I think now. It's directed to the goal, to the woman I want to become, and I'm really working hard for this. And every day I'm achieving unbelievable goals, like from jumping, from you know, riding this bike, and running. I started to run 30 minutes for someone who was having, you know, a really lazy life before. And this program really changes your life, and I can tell you, I hope with this testimonial I can be an inspiration and make people think that they never have to lose hope, especially when it comes to getting your life back, because this is the only gift we have. And really, I promise you, every tears, every sweat, every bruises, it's really worth it. And I came inside this program as a little kid. I was a chicken, and now I can say that I'm a strong woman.
And she experienced in the dojo that God is within us, that there's a higher power within us, and we just have to apply to that power.
I am a courageous woman. I love and respect myself in order to be loved and respected by the people around me. And this is just the start of my journey, and I'm just setting my goal to meet the woman I want to become.